It's Debatable with Mark Gray here on MLBBro.com.
Welcome to Debatable, boys and girls. Today, we are joined by Dr. Ray Doswell, who is the curator of the Negro League Baseball Museum in Kansas City. And the Negro League Baseball Museum, Major League Baseball, and the Players Association are in the midst of a Negro Leagues 101 campaign. It's an initiative over the last 101 days of Major League Baseball season, ending on October 3rd, the last day of the regular season, where they're going to drop a nugget of knowledge each day from a Major League Baseball community member, shall we call it, to keep the legacy alive. Ray, thanks for taking the time to join us, my friend. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the opportunity.
What are you all, as in the Negro League Baseball Museum, who's done a great job chronicling the history of Black baseball in America, and the major leagues trying to accomplish big picture with this initiative?
This year actually marks the 101st anniversary of the founding of the Negro National League. And as a play on that, with Negro Leagues 101, and 101 being kind of a college education theme, if you will. So this will be our education theme moving forward for a number of different programming opportunities. But ideally, just keeping Negro Leagues history front of mind. Last year was the 100th anniversary. We were able, in spite of the pandemic, to do a lot of social media as well as educational opportunities for people to learn about the history. So we're keeping that momentum going.
You and I were blessed enough to have interacted with a lot of the people that they're going to be reading about, quite frankly. And social media will sort of keep them alive, won't it?
Well, I think more importantly, it will hopefully spark interest. I mean, you're not going to get full biographies and documentaries through social media, but the idea is that you're introducing names, dates, and facts for people and get them curious about the history. Oh, I didn't know about this person, or this person sounds interesting, or I didn't know about that fact or that event in history. And the idea is to spark the imagination and get them to want to look up more on their own. And then, of course, we have resources via the web on our website and other websites. And MLB also has resources now on their website about the Negro Leagues. And there are other places that they can go and look. And hopefully, if they want to dig and learn a little bit more, that'll help branch them off into some other areas to learn about the connections of baseball to African American history and American history more broadly.
When Baseball Reference decided that, okay, we're now going to embrace the statistics of the Negro Leagues, and baseball itself started referring to the Negro Leagues as Major League Baseball, can you talk about how that has influenced, validated? What word would you use to say that it did to the overall perspective of a lay baseball fan to the credibility of the Negro League game?
I like the way you put the question, to a lay baseball fan, because those who have been studying the history for many years and who've been looking into especially the statistical records of these players say, well, of course they're major leaguers. And that's how I felt, and that's how many of us felt here at the Baseball Museum. Well, for the lay baseball fan, and those are the folks who are probably the most interested and excited about this entire situation, it is revelatory, is the word that I would say, because honestly, there are probably some people and players that they may have heard of, but a lot of them that they have not heard of, but at the same time don't really quite understand what this means. It is a major step forward in bringing Negro League players into the more broad conversation about their talents and abilities and more importantly, what they went through in comparison to their contemporaries in Major League Baseball. And I think that's the most important thing. And as we learned last year, is that over the years, this history was ignored, in part because of systemic racism. And we do not have a full statistical record of the Negro Leagues. And we may not ever get 100% full statistical record of the Negro Leagues, because the leagues were ignored in some respects. So it's nuanced in what's going to be included, but these players had already earned their seat at the table in a discussion. And so now we can discuss them even further, again, in comparison to their white contemporaries, and I think even more intelligently now to that. So that's what I'm excited about. But at the same time, the one thing that for lay people, especially, is understanding what these ball players had to go through just to play baseball every day. And as our president, Bob Kendrick, often says, is no truer example of love of the game than these players in the Negro leagues, because you had to go through so much outside of the game in order to just play the game. And then within the game, you certainly didn't have the same amenities as your major league counterparts, but you kept playing anyway. And you kept playing in many cases at an extremely high level. So this is love of the game and understanding what the Black community had to go through. So if this is your introduction to Black history through baseball, and then understanding more in a broader way what African Americans had to go through and how we got to the point that we've gotten with all the situations that we're still dealing with today, then welcome to the conversation.
Ray, thank you so much for joining us. Raymond Doswell, Dr. Raymond Doswell, I should say, the curator of the Negro League Baseball Museum, as the museum and Major League Baseball embark on this MLB 101 initiative. 101 days of Negro League knowledge dropped by some of the personalities that have made Major League Baseball so great. Ray, thanks for the time, my friend. Let's do it again real soon.
Indeed. Thank you.
That's Debatable for this week. I'm Mark Gray. And as always, remember, if you leave that weak stuff hanging out over the plate, we're going to take you deep. Deuces.
MLBBro.com, covering Black and brown major leaguers.